Brought to you by Penguin.
The World After Gaza by Pankaj Mishra. Read by Mikhail Sen. We too are so dazzled by power and money that we forget the fragility of our existence. We forget that we are all in the ghetto, that the ghetto is fenced in, that outside the fence are the lords of death, and a little way off the train is waiting. Primo Levi. If the solidarity of mankind is to be based on something more solid than the justified fear of man's demonic capabilities, if the new universal neighbourship of all countries is to result in something more promising than a tremendous increase in mutual hatred and a somewhat universal irritability of everybody against everybody else, then a process of mutual understanding and progressing self-clarification on a gigantic scale must take place. Hannah Arendt. Prologue. Think of the vast amount of brutality, cruelty, and lies which are able to spread over the civilized world. Do you really believe that a handful of ambitious and deluding men, without conscience, could have succeeded in unleashing all these evil spirits if their millions of followers did not share their guilt? Sigmund Freud. On the 19th of April 1943, a few hundred young Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto took up whatever arms they could find and struck back at their Nazi persecutors. Most Jews in the ghetto had already been deported to extermination camps. The fighters were, as one of their leaders, Marek Edelman, recalled, seeking to salvage some dignity. All it was about, finally, was our not letting them slaughter us when our turn came. It was only a choice as to the manner of dying. After a few desperate weeks, the resistors were overwhelmed. Most of them were killed. Some of those still alive on the last day of the uprising committed suicide in the command bunker as the Nazis pumped gas into it. Only a few managed to escape through sewer pipes. German soldiers then burned the ghetto, block by block, using flamethrowers to smoke out the survivors. The Polish poet Czesław Miłosz later recalled hearing screams from the ghetto on a beautiful quiet night, a country night in the outskirts of Warsaw. This screaming gave us goose pimples. They were the screams of thousands of people being murdered. It travelled through the silent spaces of the city from among a red glow of fires, under indifferent stars, into the benevolent silence of gardens in which plants laboriously emitted oxygen. The air was fragrant, and a man felt that it was good to be alive. There was something particularly cruel in this beast of the night, whose beauty and human crimes struck the heart simultaneously. We did not look each other in the eye. In a poem Miłosz wrote in occupied Warsaw, Campo dei Fiori, he evokes the merry-go-round next to the ghetto's wall, on which riders move skyward through the smoke of corpses and whose jaunty tune drowns out the cries of agony and despair. Living in Berkeley, California, while the US military bombed and killed hundreds of thousands of Vietnamese, an atrocity he compared to the crimes of Hitler and Stalin, Miłosz again knew shameful complicity in extreme barbarity. If we are capable of compassion and at the same time are powerless, he wrote, then we live in a state of desperate exasperation. Israel's annihilation of Gaza, provisioned by Western democracies, inflicted this psychic ordeal for months on millions of people, involuntary witnesses to an act of political evil, who allowed themselves to occasionally think that it was good to be alive, and then heard the screams of a mother watching her daughter burn to death in yet another school bombed by Israel. The Shoah scarred several Jewish generations. Jewish Israelis in 1948 experienced the birth of their nation-state as a matter of life and death, and then again in 1967 and 1973 amid annihilationist rhetoric from their Arab enemies. For many Jews who have grown up with the knowledge that the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?